Hello and welcome to Loresworn Live. We're playing Total War Warhammer today, and this is the first episode of our playthrough as the Beastmen with the Call of the Beastmen DLC that just came out. I am TJ Hafer, and with me is, well, here's the thing. When we decided to play as the Beastmen, we realized that there are certain liabilities involved with their reckless, rampaging way of warfare, and so we elected to go ahead and get legal counsel in the form of DM Speyer to represent the Beastmen hordes.
Happy to be here, Todd. Happy to be here.
He's just finished taking the Colorado bar exam.
Yeah.
Not that the Beastmen care. I think if you can use a word with 5 or more syllables, they'll allow you to represent them.
And you know what?
In a legal
it is
capacity,
the modern economy and millennial, I guess we'll call them post-bar exam, pre-licensed to practice people.
Yeah.
We need all the work we can get. So I'm not afraid of a dirty job. Sign
There
up
you
to
go.
advise a tribal fantasy set horde of very violent individuals. It should be interesting.
I would like to ask, just before we even get in here, all these spikes, do you foresee, like, OSHA maybe taking issue with
their
attire?
You could call it an unsafe work environment, just off of. I'm just looking at it. Okay, there's poor environment for proper work. It's cold in the north. It's violent. It's bitter. I guarantee you the Beastmen do not have workman's compensation insurance. The procedures for reporting workplace injury are probably just woefully inadequate. And that could be a real problem if they gave a shit, which I'm not necessarily certain they do.
I'm not certain they do either. Anyway, we're just going to start up a new campaign. Grand campaign. And we are playing as the Beastmen. So they're special mechanics. They're a horde, but they have horde unity, so their hordes don't suffer infighting when they're close together like Chaos do. Bestial rage, so our armies get mad anytime we engage in positive diplomacy with any other faction. No settlements.
These folks are not going to like mediation.
No.
We're going straight for the jugular.
I think their form of mediation usually involves removal of certain tissues and ligaments. Critical to the functioning.
Well, that's going to make it difficult to make a deal.
They spread chaos, corruption. They can defile settlements, which is pretty cool. And they can also, when they camp down in a forest, they're completely hidden from view, unless you have like a high-level agent. So they can.
What are our top units?
Seriously disappear into the campaign map. Cygor is our specialist artillery. They're especially good against mages. They hurl boulders with a very slow rate of fire, but very high damage, and are also decent in melee, which no other siege unit in the game is. The Razor Gore Herd are kind of our beast unit. They're beasts among beasts. Armor-piercing anti-infantry, poor leadership, but, decent stats otherwise. And the Minotaurs, monstrous infantry, armor-piercing. They can move through forests at the same speed as open ground, which actually most of the Beastmen units can, and they have some great bonuses.
There you go.
Confederating with other Beastmen tribes, aggressive unit roster, strong diplomatic penalties, cannot trade. We also get bonuses to ambush battles.
Kazrak the One-Eye. That looks like a pleasant client.
So he's a powerful melee fighter. He can ride a chariot. He gets income from raiding and leadership. Starts us out with Minotaurs and 2 Gore Herds, which are mid-tier axe infantry. And then there's Malagor the Dark Omen, also known as Malagor the Crowfather. He's a shaman, and he gives us 1 extra shaman slot, 10% campaign movement, and starts us off with garbage units, unfortunately.
Well, I would say we start with the faction leader.
Yeah, let's go. I know there have been other Beastmen playthroughs today, and Khazrak is probably the majority of them, but we're gonna play things a little different. Is that a binding demand from the Dark Powers?
I'd have to see the contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thing is, I think most Beastmen
this guy's kind of a drama queen, so I'd have to see what he refers to as demand. Maybe it's a request. Like, if you guys could wage war on all civilization, that'd be great.
Is it like a handshake thing? Like,
Maybe a Bill Lumberg. Yeah. Like, that'd be great.
Verbal agreement. I'm pretty sure the Beastmen are illiterate. I don't think they put those runes on the weapons. I think those just came out of the Chaos Realm with those runes already on there.
Yeah, it is not a valid defense to homicide to say that it was for art. Like, crude, violent art. Not a valid defense.
Nor religious practice, which is another argument the Beastmen could make.
That is not a valid First Amendment protection.
They are adherents of the Chaos Gods, so...
Let us guide them to greatness. Show them where men are weak, lazy, unprepared.
That is a fantastic mustache.
10 out of 10.
The Empire has a monopoly on mustaches. They might not have a monopoly on much else in the Warhammer world, like, for instance, not getting disemboweled with an axe by a weird centaur thing, but... Oh, those are big. I didn't realize razor boars were that big. I don't think the flintlock's gonna help you in this situation.
It's not. The smart thing to do would be to have hidden, I think, under something.
He kind of did, but I think the Beastmen have a pretty good sense of smell, so... Well, yeah, I mean, that's one way to translate it. Technically, that adjective is less pitiful and more, in a sense of...
Wretched?
Wretched or preening, even. I have no idea what the fake Beastmen language is at all. I'm curious about the fact that they just put the helmets on a stick and not the actual heads. Like, do they eat those?
Maybe. Maybe they think that it's a little
every
gauche.
part of the human?
Maybe they think that it's a little gauche to put heads on sticks.
You think these guys think anything is gauche? They're like surrounded by flies and...
Let civilization be torn asunder.
I can't advise that as a good call. There's a lot of exposure in tearing civilization asunder, but
yeah,
I mean, you got to do what the Chaos Gods demand, quote unquote, I suppose.
Yeah.
The law does provide exceptions for acts of God in many scenarios. Perhaps the demands of the Chaos Gods would be acceptable in some tribunals. I'm just not certain.
I had never thought about that term in the context of like a fantasy world where gods actually like act and do things. That's actually pretty funny. Now, does this guy have 4 eyes, or does he just like having lots of holes on his visor so it's breathable? I'm wondering if that's...
You know, that's an interesting call.
Yeah. What's also really interesting about the Beastmen is that they are heavily based on ungulates, like grazing herd animals, and their armies are even called herds, but they just went ahead and stuck fangs on them and made them like bloodthirsty man-eaters. I think that's kind of amusing. You have basically goat people, which I could see they're trying to go with like the old satanic Pan symbolism with that, but yeah, the fact you made them man-eating goats is kind of funny, but a lot of stuff in Warhammer is just ridiculous and goofy, so who are we to complain?
Indeed.
The Chaos Moon looms across the sky. It is a dark omen, a demand from the ruinous powers that the Cloven Ones rise up. They must emerge from their forest lairs and tear down the trappings of civilization. Now it is the time of the beast, and the Elector counts, those of Todbringer's ilk, will pay in blood and the obliteration.
I think the time of the beast is a punk rock song I heard one time. Yeah.
And so the beast path to
I recall it being mediocre.
With the bodies of men, of dwarves, of greenskins. Mostly of men, because I've already looked at our campaign objectives, and all we basically have to do is kill every human faction on the map. That's
only? That's our only
campaign
objective?
A greeting in your tongue, my bestial lord. I know you feel a yearning to kill me, for I am but a man. But you have received the vision. You know who has sent me. My desire is as yours. to see the cloven ones tear down all civilization. So let us begin.
What's this guy's actual game?
To the
Like,
north, past the mystic
I don't know, but he's kind of a jackass.
he seems sympathetic to the aims of whatever faction you play as.
spires a sure sign
I have a
of
feeling he's just kind of a
righteousness.
yes man.
You should bring ruin to this pretty realm. East of Bretonia lies the Empire, the very pinnacle of mankind's hubris. Its capital, Altdorf, is the center of power and a symbol of its surety. Reduce it all to rubble. Let pandemonium reign. The Empire is powerful, but divided. You must strike soon, for it may yet unify and seek to bring civilization to the Bloodgrounds. To the
Would
south,
that be such a bad thing?
hold a tentative grip on all that they call
Seems
their
like less paperwork.
Yet they are isolated by the
Possibly, but
mountains
you
and the
know,
black
a lot of
fire
people have
forests.
sentimental attachment to the Bloodgrounds. Like they remember the Bloodgrounds of their youth. You know, watching their parents, you know, quarter their prey alive and stretch them across the earth on a warm summer day.
Cloven ones
And
shall
if we
destroy
brought civilization to it, I just feel like it wouldn't be the same. You know?
Drawn, quartered, alive on a warm
It's-
summer day.
yeah.
Pretty sure that's a tort. Pretty sure.
All right, so the Beastmen rise from their forests and their filth. Filth. I'm gonna call that libel right there. I think we're a well-groomed herd of beasts.
Fortunately, that's that's a statement of opinion and cannot be deemed defamation, in my opinion.
We're in not Spain, which in the Warhammer world is called Estalia. Appears to be our starting location.
We're in not Spain.
I mean, yeah, it's
I dig it.
Not Spain, not France, not Germany,
Germany.
not Eastern Europe. That's basically the Warhammer world in a nutshell.
All right, so what do we got? We got
Yeah.
2 hordes, it looks like.
We got a couple hordes. We got this horde, which is led by
Garros
Heartrender.
Oh my.
So he's, I'm assuming, some sort of like a pop star. He rends hearts with his beautiful.
I think that's probably a generous
singing.
interpretation of that moniker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got 2 Ungor herds, which are garbage tier infantry, Ungor spearmen, and Ungor raiders. I think we're just pretty much starting with garbage, except for Khazrak has 2 Gore herds, which are actually decent, and of course the Minotaurs, which are very good.
All right. Well, I'm seeing a city called what is that? Magrita?
Magrita.
Yeah.
let's-
Why don't we lay
kinda
waste to that?
defenses do they have? They have 100% wall strength, and this is a large settlement. Our other options would be to borrow over here, which is
That
a
would
port.
appear more vulnerable.
Definitely more vulnerable. Or we could head up to Bilbali, which is looks like about the same size. This one's a little closer though. So my favorite thing about this faction, honestly, their encamp stance is called Hidden Encampment, which makes them immune to discovery unless someone like walks right up to them, which is pretty awesome. Oh yeah, let me fix the chat app real quick. Make sure we didn't miss anything. I wish my phone would not time out like that. You could say that Beastmen is an easy job, as most people don't have time to complain. Yeah, the loading screens are pretty bad right now. It's normally only that way when I first start up a campaign. Yeah, so their encampment stance, they're hidden, and their like regular marching stance gives them a chance of ambushing. So we
That's
don't
awesome.
even need to be an ambush stance to launch an ambush. We can just kind of do it whenever. And I think Malagor's campaign skills actually level up his ability to do that. I suppose we could see if we could take this turn 1 with what we have. I don't know what kind of a garrison is in there. Oh! Yeah, that actually looks fairly simple.
Yep.
We got
They got nothing.
yeah, no ranged units. We can outrange them. Yeah, let's begin laying waste to civilization. Curtis Vulgaire. I think that's just pulled from the
Yeah,
generic Empire name list. I think that
I don't know if I'm spoiled, but these loading screens for a Total War game are just not bad. I remember having weaker PCs playing.
That's true. I think the initial campaign loading screen is pretty bad. I might move this game to my SSD because I did just clear up a bunch of room on my SSD. So
nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Burn.
But yeah, I think
I'd imagine burning is in the offing.
Stallions are supposed to have like Mediterranean names. They should add that in a patch or something. It wouldn't really take any effort to just have different general names for stallions. Burn. So these guys have defense against large. Thankfully, I don't think any of these guys count as large. Okay, Goros Heartrender is a melee hero? Yeah. So he's basically the same. Oh, yeah. This is the other great thing about Beastmen. Other than their, like, top-tier units, pretty much all of them can use Vanguard deployment. So the Spearmen cannot, but the Bowmen can and the Axemen can. So I'm assuming they're probably going to try to hill camp. Oh, it's too bad there is some forested area in the Vanguard deployment zone. So yeah, I think maybe trying to sneak up on them from over here is going to be beneficial to us. Group these two guys up. Indy remembers waiting 20 minutes to load a Dawn of War 2 mission. Yeah, that game was, for the time it came out,
I remember waiting about an hour to load a Morrowind on my old Windows ME.
Oh, man. I remember that computer, too.
It was so if we just... DM's first PC, and it was a junker.
Yeah. Windows ME is probably one of the worst operating systems that has ever been produced by Microsoft.
Me and my dad got it for, I want to say, like $200 or $300 at some like secondhand store, I think, though. So
yeah, they're doing exactly what I thought they would do.
Falling for it, huh?
They have no ranged units, so. Oh, they're not in range because we're on a hill, so we're just like slightly out of range. Make sure. Okay, so their hero is also a melee guy, so we could probably just skirmish him to death with Ungors. We're playing on hard, by the way, if anyone was wondering. That's kind of the sweet spot for me. Normal's a little too easy, and anything higher than that, I don't really have fun. So.
And I agree, and that's kind of how I've felt. Oh my goodness!
They're abandoning the hill.
Oh my goodness. And just losing energy chasing your units.
So I think we can kind of like lure them back into the woods a little bit and then come around behind them. I don't know if they've seen that this is a thing.
They're out of position anyway.
Yeah. Careful. Careful, skirmish AI. Okay, they know they're not in immediate danger, so they're just taking a shot at the flank here. Does this guy have any abilities? No, he does not. Alright, I don't know if these guys have really any charge bonus, but they have a little bit of one with their beginning of the battle buff.
You have them completely divided and out of formation.
Yeah.
And getting shelled in the rear, which is a good place to shell.
And, oh yeah, here comes their, they can't even decide where to go. This is like playing as nomads in Attila or Rome 2.
Yeah.
If I can get a downhill charge on these guys.
And that's their leader, so...
These guys are basically fawns, is I think the mythological parallel here. And victory is in our grasp already. We've barely done shit. Don't get caught in the charge! Ahaha! Oh, it's not even a real hero, it's just a lieutenant squadron. let's go here and. So what is your assessment of what's going on here so far?
Well, the common law defines battery as the intentional, harmful, or offensive contact to a person without their consent. And I'm seeing a lot of harmful or offensive contact over there. A lot of harmful or offensive contact over there.
We have
and just so much harmful and offensive contact going on. There's really just a tremendous amount of harmful and offensive non-consensual contact occurring.
We have a level of rear penetration going on that I believe in some older law codes could be defined as buggery.
There's there's just so much battery occurring, and assault is placing someone in imminent fear of a harmful or offensive contact, which I'm pretty sure everyone who is not being harmfully or offensively contacted right now is in a fear of imminent harmful or offensive contact, and I'm pretty sure, TJ, that damage is being done.
Yeah.
So, your exposure is just tremendous. It's just...
So, yeah, if we were to just turn ourselves into the authorities of the Empire now, what do you think our chances would be of maybe getting a commuted sentence for the actions that have taken place
practically so far? There's just so much going wrong here. But in terms of just like real world street knowledge, dead men tell no tales. TJ. So get after the disposing of evidence and let none leave this field alive.
That's why DM is such a valuable addition to our team. He doesn't just know the courtroom; he knows the streets as well. So,
dead men tell no tales.
He's that guy on the procedural show that's like, he's been around the block.
Who just gets in so much trouble with the ethical organizations of his community. Rule 11 sanctions all up in here.
I love when your hero is just kind of wandering around in the enemy ranks because they're not worried or anything. It's like.
Did you took, I want to say 30 losses in that battle.
Yeah, it wasn't many. Probably.
In their routing. So.
In the spear skirmish, or in the scrum there, maybe we took some
decisive.
Losses. Decisive victory to start the campaign is always nice, especially on hard. Yeah, we took 94 losses and we killed 290. I mean, we don't know what happened to them. They're dead in a field somewhere. We weren't there.
Didn't see nothing.
I mean,
didn't see nothing.
We were in the forest scratching our asses against a tree, and we could show you the tree.
They all died.
It smells really bad.
All of them died. It was awful.
You can't prove...
But I would remind you that we had no duty to act, so we just allowed it to occur.
Yeah.